Good evening. I'm Phil Rogofsky, founder and executive director of the Maryland STEM Festival. Tonight we have a program we call Women Warriors, featuring a group of women who are or have served in our military, and we thank them very much for that, and are working in a variety of STEM positions. So we wanted to give them an opportunity to talk about that and hopefully inspire a few young ladies and maybe even a few boys to follow a career into the military. So I'm going to go, this will be round robin, and I'll ask questions. And the first question that I'll be asking everybody is very simple, and they're all simple. What is your name, your rank, and the branch of the military? So why don't I start with Sergeant First Class Riddenauer.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sergeant First Class April May Ridenauer, and I am in the Maryland Army National Guard.
And your day job?
My day job is I'm AGR, so I'm on the 32nd Civil Support Team, Weapons of Mass Destruction, and that is my day job.
Okay, thank you. Staff Sergeant Jones.
Hi, I'm Staff Sergeant Joan Jones. I'm active duty for Army, and I'm stationed here at Fort Meade in Maryland as well.
And your day job?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a cyber operations NCO, so I work building scenario developments to certify teams.
Okay, thank you. Lieutenant Durton?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Lieutenant Martha Durton. I'm in the Maryland Air National Guard, and my day job is an intelligence officer.
Okay. Lieutenant Kramer, I know you dropped off minutes, so I'm going around and asking everybody their name, their rank, their branch, and their day job.
Awesome. Yeah, sorry, I had some technical difficulty, but hi, everyone. I'm Lieutenant Brianna Kramer. I am from Chicago, but currently in Maryland, and I fly helicopters.
So you're in the Air Force?
Yes, I'm in the Air Force.
Okay. Lieutenant Colonel Hetland.
Hi, I'm
Oops. Oh, she dropped off. Major Mayo.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Major Christina Mayo. I am currently with the Maryland Air National Guard. For my Air National Guard career, I am a cyber operations officer. For my civilian job, I am an IT program manager with Cyber Command.
Okay. Lieutenant Colonel Hetland, we got you back, thankfully. Can you please tell us again your name, your rank, your branch, and your day job?
Yeah, so Lieutenant Colonel Kat Hetland. I'm in the Air Force active duty. I'm currently stationed at Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas, and I'm the analyst division chief. So I've division chief of about 6 engineers and analysts that work in our unit.
Great, thank you. Lauren?
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Lauren Zacchio, and I'm currently a civilian. I work at the United States Naval Academy, and I serve as one of the regional directors. So that means that I oversee the states of Maryland, Virginia, Delaware, and Washington, D.C.
And you're a Naval Academy graduate?
Yes, that's correct. I graduated from the Naval Academy in 2012. I was a surface warfare officer, and I separated from the Navy in 2018.
Great. All right. So now I'd like each of you to talk a little bit about what you actually do during the day. What is your job entail, some of your typical functions and duties? Again, I'll start with you, Lauren.
So as a regional director in the Office of Admissions, primarily I work with candidates, so prospective students who hope to learn more about the Naval Academy and potentially join the Naval Academy. So I work with a lot of students. I work with a lot of schools. I'm setting up visits for us to go visit with schools, meet with students, meet with school counselors, set up trips for us to travel. So it's really fun to get to work with students and help them determine what's a good fit for their future.
Is that what you like most about your job?
It is. I actually worked there as active duty from 2016 to 2019, and I absolutely fell in love with what I did. It was the perfect fit for me, and I was fortunate to be able to stay there as a civilian.
Great. Major Mayo, can you tell us about your day job, some of your typical day, and why you like your job?
My day jobs are typically with Cyber Command, so I'm full-time there as a civilian. So I manage projects. We can't really talk about what we manage, but
I understand.
But pretty much my day-to-day is have lots of meetings, meet with different types of leaders, and discuss budgets, calendars, and schedules.
Okay, Lieutenant Kramer, can you tell us about your day job, what you do, in your role, and why you like it?
Yes. So I fly helicopters. I fly the Huey specifically. So if you've ever seen an old Vietnam movie, that's us, and we still fly them today. In DC here, we have a couple different missions that we do that I unfortunately can't talk about, but we basically fly around DC, and then there's 2 pilots up front in the Huey, so I'm one of them that flies it. And then day to day, I love it because it's ever changing. It's always interesting. You always get to do something different, and we get to practice the skills that we learn and then build on them and see improvements and like learn something new every day.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Lieutenant Colonel Hetland?
Yeah, so right now I do more overseeing, but so my guys build a lot of measures. We do testing here, so they build the measures on how we're going to test whatever our project is. And then my job as the div chief is to kind of oversee what they're doing and check up on that, make sure their math makes sense, and that we're able to actually test our objective, meet it, evaluate it, and see if it actually meets.
Oops, we lost her. Hopefully we'll get her back. Lieutenant Durton, tell us about your typical day and what you do during the day and why you like what you do.
Hi, yeah. So as a intelligence officer right now, full-time, kind of like Lieutenant Kramer mentioned, it can change any day. It really depends on what day I'm going into the office on what I'm going to be working on. But essentially, the intelligence squadron just fulfills a lot of customer needs and collects and processes a lot of data and information that's classified. So we go into a SCIF usually, and we're in a secure building just working on whatever it is that the mission requires for us to work on at that point in time. What I like about being an officer in this field is I get to expand my horizon a little bit more and get to talk to people and deal with different problems that they might be having or encountering, getting them to the right point of contact. And so I do a lot of managing the team, but then I also get to do the job if I'm done helping out my team members, and I can sit down and take care of those job requirements too. So I have a lot of different roles to fill, but it's pretty fun.
I know what a SCIF is, but some of our viewers might not. We want to explain what a SCIF is?
Oh, yep. So it's a secured building. Basically, you have to have a top secret clearance and go through a lot of different processes to get into that building, to have a badge to get there. Once you are cleared to go there, you basically just stay there. You can't have your phone. And that's pretty much where you get your access to the classified networks that you wouldn't have on your personal computer or anywhere else outside of that building.
Okay, thank you. Staff Sergeant Jones?
Hi, my actual assigned job is an exploitation analyst, also working in a SCIF. A broad definition of what that means is I identify vulnerabilities into areas, into our targets. Currently, I'm assigned building and developing the scenarios to certify all of our cyber teams. What I love about it is it's a challenge. I love the variety. It's just this giant puzzle trying to put everything together. It's forever changing. It's a lot of fun. And then I also get to teach as well doing my job. So like seeing when a student actually understands something or a soldier and stuff, it's phenomenal. I love it.
Sergeant First Class Ridenauer, did I get it right this time?
Ridenauer, yes.
Right. I'm sorry, Ridenauer. Again, what do you do during your day? What are your duties, your functions? What do you like about your job?
So I wear a couple hats at work, but as far as STEM is concerned, so I'm a CBRN specialist, I'm a chem, biological, radiological, nuclear specialist. So day to day, we train, and we prepare for real world disasters that involve chem, bio, rad, or nuclear incidents. And so we train for our validation exercises, and if we ever get called up to respond for the state of Maryland or local federal agencies. My other hat at work that can take up some of my time during the day is alternate analytical laboratory system operator, and that's pretty much a mobile laboratory that we can take with us if we need to. So every month I get a proficiency test, and that can take up some time, and each month is a different piece of equipment in that truck. So I study a lot, but my section, we train, and we're just prepared for a disaster pretty much.
Okay, great. My next question, would like to hear a little bit about your background, where each of you grew up, maybe where you went to high school, and if you went to college. So I'll start. Why don't we just go ahead and start back with you, Sergeant First Class Rittenauer.
Okay. So a little bit about myself. I am from Baltimore, Maryland, and I went to the Baltimore Polytechnic Institute for high school. Currently, I am attending University of Maryland Global Campus, and I'm studying investigative forensics. What else was it? Was that it?
Just a little bit. I mean, so you're originally from Baltimore?
I'm originally from Baltimore, yes. I did 2 years at junior college, and then I did 2 years at a university, and then that is when I decided I need something, so I'm going to go ahead and join the Guard.
Okay. And so that was your main impetus to joining the military? What was
my main thing that had me join the military is I've played sports all of my life. So I've always had a team. I've always had that extra family. And I figured, well, my eligibility is up and I miss having something to do. I miss having all these friends and this extra relationships with strangers, and you build and build these relationships. You become family pretty much. And I was like, well, this Maryland Guard, I can still go to school. They'll pay for my school and I'll make a whole new family. And that's ever changing because you get people who come in or you meet people who've been there a long time and they're leaving. So you learn to build your relationships and keep in contact with those people.
What sports did you play?
I played soccer and softball in college.
And are you playing on a military team now?
I am not. I actually had 2 ACL surgeries, so I'm done.
Okay, I understand. Well, my wife's a PT. If you need any help, maybe she can help you out.
Awesome. Get back on the field.
Yes. Lieutenant Kramer, I'll go with you since I know you have to leave early. Tell us a little bit about where you grew up, where you went to high school, went to college.
Yeah, awesome. I originally am from Chicago. That's where I grew up. And then I went to college at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. I found out about it. I had a cousin that went to the Naval Academy. So I decided to apply to the service academies. I just really fell in love with them and the environment and the purpose, and I just really saw myself there. And then after the academy, I was lucky enough to get a pilot slot, and I went to pilot training, and now I'm here flying helicopters.
Did you choose to fly helicopters? How did you end up with helicopters?
I did. I did choose it. There's some different requirements for different aircraft, and I was actually too short to fly a couple different ones, but helicopters I was good to go for, and I just really liked the mission and how small they were and how efficient they were and how you could land anywhere you wanted. You didn't need to land on a runway. You could land in a field and pick up passengers, and I just thought the mission was really exciting and meaningful.
Great, thank you. I think someone's typing, but most of you are on mute. I'm not sure what that noise is. Okay. Lieutenant Colonel Hetland, did you get to finish your your comments about what you like about your job and what you do?
Yeah. So I love the challenge. So as a math major, we don't do a lot of complicated math, which is kind of good because the younger guys can do a lot better than I can. But just to be able to do some of the stuff from my degree. I've also gotten to do a lot of tests, which has been awesome. I've gotten to fly a lot of different aircraft for the Air Force. So that's been really cool. And then outside of tests, doing some great stuff, just with playing with numbers and making policies work for the Air Force.
Now I'm going to say, we lost her again. Okay. Okay, why don't we go with Staff Sergeant Jones about where you grew up and where you went to high school and why you decided to join the military.
I grew up a little bit north of Tampa, Florida, about 30 minutes, a small little town called Newport Richey. We call it Newport Nowhere. I attended several high schools. The reason I joined was I don't have any family, and the Army became my family. I couldn't afford college. I worked a lot, and I needed something to better my life. And talking to a couple of my friends that also joined the Marines, I was like, this seems like the perfect fit for me. I love working out. I love team cohesion and everything. I've been immensely grateful for everything I've learned in it. So joining the Army has definitely helped. And it gave me my purpose, my family, and I've loved that. Just like Sergeant First Class had mentioned, it's been great though.
Okay. Let's try Lieutenant Colonel Hetland again.
Sorry, hopefully outside works better.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not sure where I got cut off, but I've gotten to do a lot of tests for the Air Force. So flying the Osprey, flying in gunships, worked with Global Hawk. So those are all a lot of fun to do tests. And then I've done a lot of staff work as well. And so there's usually a numbers person behind the policy parts for the Air Force. And so I was in organizations that did a lot of the numbers that affect the policy the Air Force does. So it's actually kind of a rewarding job to be able to see the things you do get implemented right away.
So you're a pilot too?
Not a pilot. I would be in the back for test. So I'd run into.
Okay. Oh, we lost her again. All right. Lieutenant Durton, where did you grow up? Where did you go to high school? Did you go to college? Why did you join the military?
So I grew up in Virginia for a few years, and then my parents moved us over to Texas. I kind of bounced around from different houses. My parents didn't really like to stay in one place, so we jumped around a lot, but I did go to high school in Texas, and I went to an early college high school where I finished a lot of my college credits, and it really got me interested in completing college. I would have been one of the first in my family to have a degree. So I needed a way to pay for it, and I found out about the military and all of the huge benefits that they had. So I decided to join. I went active duty for a few years, and I was a personnelist, which is a human resource kind of manager. So I did that for a few years, and then I decided to move back to Maryland for two reasons. My husband is from here, and we were having some family problems, so I needed to try to find a way to get closer to my siblings. And the military allowed me to transfer from active duty over to the Guard, and that really helped out. I'm in the process now to adopt my siblings. They live with me, and it's been an amazing adventure. I completed my initial goal, and I completed college. So once I finished my associates, I just kept going and found the time to finish my bachelor's in business. And then after I moved back here to Maryland, I was able to go to University of Maryland Global Campus and finish my master's there in business as well. So it's been pretty awesome. It takes up a lot of time. You have to stay dedicated to finish college while you're in the military, but it's possible. I accomplished all of those goals plus some family goals that I didn't know I had at the time. So it's been pretty awesome.
Yeah, the Global College has a great relationship with the military. A lot of military personnel have used that school. Where did you go to school before you went there?
So I went to Lewis University. It's a college that's out of Illinois, but they have a campus in Albuquerque, New Mexico. That's where I was stationed while I was active duty. So I would work my full 8-hour day, and then I would leave to go to class from 6 to 10 p.m. and get home at 10:30.
A very long day, but
yeah,
that's
worth it.
Well worth it, but that's not unusual being in the military. So
yeah,
very long days. Major Mayo, please tell us a little bit about where you grew up, where you went to high school, and if you went to college, why you joined the military.
So I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. I was raised in the city. I went to high school at Western Senior High, which is an all-girls school. And then I moved on to Morgan State University, where I received my engineering degree. So I have a systems industrial engineering degree. From there, I went on to Johns Hopkins University to get my MBA. And then I decided to get my PhD in engineering. So that alone is a hurdle. The dissertation part, the classwork was easy. It was the dissertation part that brought the challenge. So I'm hopefully graduating this year, 2022. But we'll see if they like my dissertation or not this time. But from there, how did I join the military? I joined the military pretty late. I was a civilian working at Northrop Grumman. So I worked at Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman. I was definitely ingrained into a civilian career, traveling and being an engineer, excited. Where that opportunity came where I can interview for the Maryland Air National Guard after like 7 years of my career. So I decided to join. I actually started out in civil engineering. at the Maryland Air National Guard. Had a great time. Being a part of that made me realize that what decision to join the military at a later date was definitely something that was a good decision. They were like a family. Then from there, I moved over to cyber operations. So why did I join? What makes me excited about coming to drill on the weekends and also to dedicate extra time? Honestly, the people. I love the Army in the air because I work with the Army as well as the air. I enjoy every aspect, meaning like our relationships, our team building, and also to learn how to be flexible and diverse in the way you lead and also the way you communicate. So I can't say that I didn't have a moment in my military career that I didn't like. I think that every part and every aspect of it was not what I was expecting. So I would never take it back any second or any minute. I mean, of course, like any career, right? You have challenges, but I enjoy it. Did I answer every question? Sorry.
Yeah. And I'll second that Morgan is a great school. They're a big supporter of the STEM Festival. And we have a great relationship with Morgan. They do one of our biggest events every year. So.
Oh, nice. Which event is that, sir? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm sorry?
Which event? Which STEM event is that?
They do an event. They call it the STEM Expo. It's run by Dr. Peters. Do you know Dr. Peters?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, I work closely with Dr. Peters and Katrina Robinson.
Okay. I do not know Katrina. Yes.
Pardon?
No, I do not know Miss Robertson, but I know Dr.
And actually, he's no longer there, but Dr. Victor McCrary, who was a VP of research, sort of my first into Morgan State. So.
Okay, nice.
Yes. Lauren, please tell us a bit about where you grew up, where you went to high school, college.
So I'm originally from just outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a small town called Greensburg, Pennsylvania. And I went to Greensburg-Salem High School. And I initially didn't know much about the military, or I knew nothing about the service academies. It was basically kind of by luck that I stumbled upon them. I was in my junior year of high school, and I remember taking drives across the state, visiting different colleges with my parents, a lot of road trips with my mom in particular. And we'd go to these great schools. I'd meet with someone in admissions, and every time we'd leave, we'd ask, well, how do you feel? How was it? And I never felt like I belonged anywhere. So I'm a junior in high school. I felt pretty lost. And I remember this moment clear as day. We were sitting around my kitchen, and one of my older brothers told me that Lauren, you should look at a service academy. And I said, Matt, you're crazy. I don't even know what that is. Like, what are you telling me to look into? I just didn't know. And something sunk in. I went online and I started looking at information for a service academy. And it happened to be the perfect timing. I stumbled upon the Naval Academy Summer Seminar Program. And for anyone who doesn't know, that's a program that we have for rising seniors. And it's the summer between their junior and senior year. And it's where you get to experience a week in the life of a midshipman. And I stumbled upon that application. I applied. I was fortunate enough to be accepted. And when I went there, I felt like I belonged. It was everything kind of clicked when I visited. I realized the other students who were also at the program were students I wanted to be like and be around with. And the midshipmen who were helping to run the program, they were everything I aspired to be. And just being there was really everything. So from that point on, I was only going to the Naval Academy. So I'm very fortunate that it actually worked out and I was able to get accepted. And I graduated and earned my commission in 2012.
Wonderful. Now, and I think some of you may have touched on this a little bit, but how many of you, and we'll go through everybody. Here's, hi, Lieutenant Kramer. Did we get a chance to ask you where you grew up and where you went to high school? I don't remember. We did. Okay. All right. So we're going to start the next question. And some of you have touched on this a little bit, but I'll still go through again. How many of you have family members who served in the military? And I'll start with you, Lieutenant Kramer, since you have to leave soon.
Oh, great. I only had one. I only had my cousin that went to the Naval Academy and then who joined the Marines. And that's how I found out about the military. But no one in my immediate family. It was definitely a shock to my parents when I said, I want to apply to a service academy and I want to be an officer in the military, because they just had no experience and had no expectations of what was coming.
Great. Lieutenant Colonel Hatland, I don't think we got a chance to ask you where you grew up, where you went to high school. Can you let us tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from?
Yeah, so I'm from Kansas. I call Kansas home. I'm an Army brat. So I ended up, my dad retired out of the Army out of Kansas. And we stayed there through high school. And then I went to Kansas State University. I did ROTC there, and then joined and commissioned from there into the Air Force.
Besides Kansas, where did you live?
Oh, I don't know. I went to like 5 different elementary schools. So Washington State, Hawaii, Colorado, Virginia, Texas, Illinois, Korea.
You have been around. Oops, we lost her again. Major Mayo, did anybody in your family serve? Have you had any relatives in the military?
My father served in the military, the Marines, for 4 years. And then my daughter, she serves currently in the military. She's a Air Force Academy grad. So she just graduated, and now she's serving at Tinker Air Force Base as acquisitions officer. So she.
I'm sorry, which Air Force Base?
Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Okay, very nice. Lieutenant Colonel, I was going to ask you, what branch of the military did your father serve?
He was in the Army.
Okay, and how many years was he in the military, in the Army?
He did 20, and then got out right there. Got
it. I think, Lauren, you sort of said that there was no one in your family who served in the military.
My grandfather's, but no one in my immediate family.
Okay. Which branch did he serve in?
One served in the Navy and one served in the Army.
Did they long-term or?
To be honest, I don't know too much. My one grandfather passed before I was born, so I don't know too much about his service. And the other one just served for a couple of years.
Okay. Lieutenant Durton, did any of your family serve in the military?
Yeah, my uncle was in the Navy for a few years. Growing up, I didn't really ask too many questions. I just saw a picture of him in his Navy uniform and kind of gave me the interest, I think, a little bit. But besides him, I didn't know of anyone else. So I just went to the recruiter's office to go find out some more.
Great. Staff Sergeant Jones?
My father was in for about 3-4 years. He had me very late. He was in Vietnam, so he was much older when he had me and everything.
Great. Staff Sergeant First Class Rittenauer.
Yes. So my brother served in the Marine Corps. He enlisted in 2001. He did 1 tour of enlistment. And I remember he found out that I gave the Marine Corps recruiter my name and my birth date. So they're like, we'll call you when you're 17. And they did. And my brother said, no, don't do that. I was like, why? I want to be like you. But you know what? That's fine. I'll join the Army instead. So.
Okay. I'd like to ask each of you what you have been most surprised about being in the military and what you like least about being in the military. And I'll start with Major Mayo.
What I like let's start off the bad, the least.
Okay.
Well, wow, that's a hard question. What I like the best, let's start with the best then. What I like the best is the relationships you build. And that for me is the best. The least is, right now I can say, you know what? I can honestly say sometimes the least that I could not like the military is having a leadership or a leader that leads in a very complex manner. I say that.
And what surprised you about being in the military? What did you encounter that you didn't really expect when you enlisted, when you joined?
I didn't expect to have so much fun, to be honest. I thought the military was pretty serious when I first it was brought to my attention I should join. I told them I'm very happy and I'm very kind person. I don't think the military is for me because you have to be very, very hard, very stern. And they said, no, it's not like that. So when I went through with it because I trusted the individual, and I am surprised how kind you can be but with, of course, a little firmness. But
Mhm.
I like to love. So you're able to love and care for others, and it's not being taken advantage of. I was surprised about that. I loved it.
Okay. Lauren, what did you like the least and most, and what surprised you when you entered the Naval Academy and then the Navy?
I think my answers might be pretty similar. The most would have to be the people and the relationships. Every place I've loved because of the people. What I've liked the least, it's also hard, but I think the hardest thing for me personally was sometimes not being able to make it home back to Pennsylvania for different family functions. That was always kind of hard. But one thing that we learned to do is we've adapted, and holidays, celebrations, they happen when you want them to happen.
Mhm.
I remember celebrating some of the holidays with my husband when he got home from deployment, and I had bought stuff around the holidays, saved it until he got home, and then a couple months later, I'm breaking out Christmas dishes. So you do what you have to do, and you make the best of it. So that's something that I think has kind of carried with me. So the holidays or whenever you're together with the ones that you love. But that probably was the hardest for me. And then I think also what surprised me the most was how much I would come out of my shell and how much I could grow from I don't think I was necessarily shy in high school, but just to kind of see the things I was capable of when I was serving as a surface warfare officer and when I was serving in the military, things that I just couldn't have imagined doing when I was a child, and also being able to keep my personality with it. One of my favorite things to do on the ship was I loved decorating things, and I loved kind of bringing joy and trying to just make it a fun and happy environment.
Wonderful. You said your husband is in the military, was in the military. What branch was he in?
He was also in the Navy. He was also a surface warfare officer, and now he serves as a Navy reservist.
Very good. Lieutenant Durden, what do you like the most, the least, and what surprised you about being in the military?
What I like the most, I would have to say, is the opportunities and that I get to be myself. I don't think I mean, maybe no one knows who they really are at 17 years old or 18 years old, but I feel like the military really shaped me and helped me figure out who I am, stand up for what I think is right, have a voice when no one else can speak up for something. I have a lot more confidence and a lot more standards that I live by. So I think that that's really helped me with everything else in life. I can apply it, with my kids, with my family, or anytime that I'm out. If people feel like they can't speak up or they don't know how to approach a situation, the military has really helped me really figure that out. Besides just learning our job, we have a lot of trainings on like how to work together as a team, or we have a lot of team building exercises, and that's really helped me, like not just with work, but outside of it too. Just learning how to communicate with people. I didn't really get to learn that as a kid, I don't think. So that's what I like the most. And the opportunities, like I said, you get to kind of choose your own adventure. If you don't like your job or if you want something different, you can apply for it, and hopefully you get that next position and you get to try something different and still keep your retirement plan or your service plan with whatever service you chose. Or you could cross train into a different service if you even wanted to. What I don't like the least, I think I would have to say, was the initial training. Obviously I didn't like getting yelled at and, having to build my standards and my own, like, I guess, self up during that time. But looking back at it, it helped me so much. Just learning everything about integrity and appreciating everyone's backgrounds and, learning how to have a healthy lifestyle, like mentally, physically, and all of that. It was just also new, so I didn't really like it at the beginning, because you kind of feel like you're getting told what to do at every second of every day. But after those initial 2 months happen and you graduate, you look back at it and you realize how much you were learning that whole time and how helpful it really was. So I didn't like it at the time, but now I loved it. What surprised me was the travel. I think a lot of people go into the military expecting to travel and expecting to go a lot of different places. And it surprised me that I didn't get to travel a whole lot initially, but then after I started learning my job and my opportunities out there, I was able to travel as much as I could sign up for. I've been overseas a couple of times and gone to temporary trips like across the United States and just getting to see all of the different places, all the different cultures. Some places I go there and I'm like, this one restaurant is really nice, but I won't come back here again. And then some other places I just really love and want to travel to all the time. So that's kind of what surprised me is there's opportunities everywhere for us to travel and all the different locations that we get to go see. They're pretty cool.
Now, have you thought about how long you plan to stay in the military and what you'll do when you leave the military? And if not, I mean, that's fine. I just, in case you have thought about it.
I would love to stay for the full 20. So that's my plan. I've been in for almost 9 years now. And so I'm reaching that kind of like halfway mark. And if you reach the 10 years, then why not finish the last 10 years if you're able to? So yeah, that's my plan for right now. It's given me so many opportunities. So I just plan to keep going until I can't go anymore.
And any thought about what you'll do when your military career is over?
Not a whole lot of thought into it, but I think I would like to help out children in some capacity, since that's kind of what the situation is that I'm in right now. It would be something between that and intelligence. I know it's kind of like half and half, but I feel like if I can finish my intelligence like career goals right now, then after I retire, I could do something like maybe be a counselor at a school or a psychologist to just kind of help out kids that need the strength and guidance to keep going during those rough days and figure out what they can do as an adult.
Or you could teach cybersecurity in a school.
Yeah, and then help out with both both things. So yeah, something to do with kids and maybe mix some little bit of intel in there.
Great. Staff Sergeant Jones, what do you like most about the military, the least, and what did you find most surprising when you entered the military, being in the military?
What I like the most is, as Major Mayo had mentioned, the family is support, and as Lauren mentioned, like you bring holidays everywhere. When I was deployed, like we made sure we celebrated everybody's birthday, which growing up we couldn't afford to do that type of stuff. So getting to do that in Afghanistan, you wouldn't have thought like, oh, I get to celebrate my birthday today. This is great. Someone brought me a cake. So that was also very surprising at the same time. But I think that's what I love the most. Like you get to learn so much, and everyone I've met has been, you always have rotten eggs, doesn't matter what type of job you're in, of course, but everyone's been so eager to learn and teach and focus on progressing you, not just for a mission purpose, but also for the concept of you becoming a holistic, better person. I have loved that. I love that the military doesn't only focus on operational goals. Like the military focuses on bettering communities. We volunteer surprisingly all the time. In high school, I would have never thought that I would be volunteering while in the Army because I volunteered to join the Army. It didn't make sense to me, but we do volunteer events where we volunteer with churches, we volunteer with schools. I'm sorry.
Like this is a volunteer event.
Oh. Yeah, exactly. Example A. It's just, I just love the community aspect of it. We don't just look at it as in, like in some of the movies they show, the only thing you care about is your foxhole and eliminating the enemy. No, the overall is to better the world holistically. Like, I think that's phenomenal. The thing that surprised me the most was I'm a very small female. I'm 5 foot, like 110, and it really surprised me what I am capable of when I put effort and I have people, a support system, like, girl, just do it, you got this. And I'm just like, might as well try it. And then you do it, and then you do it the next time, and then you're like, oh, this is so easy. Why was I panicked to do this before? This is phenomenal. So that definitely surprised me. A dislike. sometimes, and this is like that no matter what job you do, it can be very difficult to balance your work life and personal life and goals. So that, I guess, would be a dislike, but that occurs no matter what your job is, type of thing.
Yeah. Have you thought about how long you want to stay in the military and what you might do when you retire or leave?
I would love to stay as long as the Army would take me. Sounds silly, I know. Again, it's my family. So I currently write children's books on the side, so I thought it was pretty funny what Lieutenant Durton was saying. I was like, oh, girl, we're in the same link here. This is great. Ma'am, sorry. So I would love to write children's book and maybe open a publishing company that focuses on teaching culture to children, because one of the great things you learn in the military is different perspectives. Like a small town girl, we don't ever meet people that have different ideas, different logic, different growing ups. And so teaching that at a young age might prevent us needing to have war in the future. Who knows? I have no idea. Sounds silly, sounds goofy, but
No, it doesn't.
I like it. It's the dream.
So do you have any unpublished books yet? Any books you're working on? Do you have any children's books that you're working on?
Yeah, I'm doing it in honor of my goddaughter, Olivia. It's a series called The Adventures of Olivia the Hedgehog. So she travels the world and she teaches the culture of every country and like small things that, like if you ever met someone from there, they'll be like, oh, cool. So I've been doing it on places I've been and on like my relatives. Like I'm doing Venezuela as the first one for my mom and everything because that's where she grew up, etc. So
who's illustrating them?
Yeah. Actually, I have a friend from my hometown that does the illustrations, or in process. It's sadly not finished yet. But
well, look forward to seeing them. That sounded interesting.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes. I'm a big book fan. I used to work in a bookstore in college. So, yeah. Sergeant First Class Rittenauer, what did you like most about the military? The least? What surprised you being in the military?
Okay. So the least thing about the military, I love basic training. I had a blast. I had so much fun. However, I had to wear the glasses. I had the big brown ones, like not the black ones you get. I had the big brown ones, and mine were thick. So that was my least favorite part, to be honest. Like everyone kind of touched on, like, yes, you will have your rotten eggs here and there, but you kind of just drive on because they'll be on their way at some point. My favorite thing about where I'm at now, I travel a lot. We get to travel to different states. So my unit, each state has one of us. Some states have two. But if they need help at any time in the year, we can go and travel to their state and stay there 2 weeks at a time. Or different classes. I've been to Virgin Islands for a class. I've been to Louisiana, Texas a couple times. Fort Leonard Wood. I've been to Fort Leonard Wood a lot, more than I would like to be, but I have been. We've done training in Puerto Rico. So we travel quite often. But seriously, the least thing, probably the glasses. And the thing that actually surprised me happened later in my career, and that's the warrant officer program. I did not know that was a thing when I enlisted. It was either you were enlisting or you were commissioning. So I've been a 74 Delta Seaburn Specialist now for almost 10 years. And it just kind of came about that you can use your technical experience to become a warrant officer, to be a lieutenant and everything, like bachelor's degrees or ROTC is what gets you through, or OCS. But warrant officers, if you're in the Guard, your civilian career time counts for your experience. So I thought that was pretty cool. That really surprised me that your civilian job can actually help you along in the warrant officer path.
And have you given thought to how long you'd like to stay in the military and what you might do when you're through?
So thought for that, so I've been on the CST for 9 years. I have 9 years time in total in the Guard. I have 12. My current contract ends in 2027, so I'm just going to ride it out the full 20. And if I'm actually putting my warrant officer packet together, and if I get that, the time resets. So if that gets approved, who knows?
Okay.
Stay a lot longer.
All right. Last, I'd talk with each of you, get your feelings on obstacles you may have had to you've encountered or overcome being a woman in the military, and what you would tell a young girl about why she should think about and consider entering the military. I'll start with Lauren.
So why I think young women should join the military. I think for me, it just opened so many doors. I am the person I am today because I decided to apply to the Naval Academy and then go to the Naval Academy and earn my commission. I've traveled the world. So I did, as a surface warfare officer, I've had the opportunity to travel all over the world, pulled into many countries for port visits that I couldn't have dreamed of going to. I just couldn't even have imagined pointing to a map and saying, one day I'm going to be here. And I've been to so many different places. I've met so many different people. And honestly, it changed my life. And I'm so grateful for the opportunities that I had, for the people that I've met along the way. And now in my current position, I'm helping to shape the future of the Navy and Marine Corps, which is such a cool thing to see young people coming through the process with all of their dreams ahead of them.
And did you feel you had any additional obstacles or any particular roadblocks being a woman in the military?
So for me, one of my biggest roadblocks was there's an obstacle course at the Naval Academy, and it was not my strong suit at all. Mm-hmm. And that was always something that I felt very self-conscious about because I could not do some of the obstacles. I just wasn't able to physically to get to that point. There were some other endurance courses that I did like, but the obstacle course in particular, that's, I think, more of a personal issue because there were plenty of women who were amazing at it. But for me personally, that was something that I saw as a challenge. And the one amazing thing was there were always your teammates, your squad mates who were there to motivate you. And it didn't matter if you were the fastest or the slowest runner, everyone was there doing it as a team.
Great. Major Mayo, did you feel you encountered any additional challenges or obstacles being a woman? And what would you tell a young girl about why she should join the military or think about joining the military?
Personally, myself, I did not see challenges in the military because of my gender, being a female or a woman. I felt like everyone there, but then at the same time, I went to engineering school with all men. So it's just like, I'm used to being around being the only female in the room. So I think that it didn't present any challenges for me. I actually embraced it and loved it. The culture that the military has, so far as being a woman in the military. If I can speak about should other young ladies or women join the military? Yes, I definitely think it's a great opportunity. It's an opportunity to not only, as Ms. Lauren said, travel the world. You actually get to meet people all over the world and build that relationship with them and develop and grow it and keep in contact with someone you met in Arkansas or in Texas or in Mississippi. So you go to these different locations and you get an opportunity to actually build the relationships with them and then go from there. So as a woman, I found that being in the military has been a huge benefit from many aspects, from getting a higher education to having people alongside you that motivate you.
Great, thank you. Lieutenant Colonel Hatlin, we're wrapping up with the questions. Do you feel there were additional challenges or obstacles as being a woman in the military? And what would you tell a young girl about why she should strongly consider entering the military?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't think I really saw a lot of barriers or anything or being treated differently as much about being a woman, especially in my career field. There's a lot of men in general in the military, but I think I was always valued for what I brought to the table. So I really, if I was treated differently, it's because I wasn't a pilot as opposed to, being an analyst instead of my skills. And once you prove to them that you're smarter than they are, then it was never a problem. Sorry for the helicopter pilot. But I mean, the opportunities that I got in the military to travel were just amazing. I got to live overseas for 3 years. I got to go a lot of places in Asia. My husband's in the Guard as well as an engineer, and he gets to go to Europe all the time. Pre-COVID, he was going to Europe 3 to 4 times a year on trips. So just the opportunities that were available to us is just amazing. And there's no way I've been able to do what I do now outside of it. And then, you know, as I'm coming at the end of my career, job offers are going to be there. The experience I have, it's going to be there. And I know I will have no problems finding a job as soon as I decide what I actually want to do.
Great. Lieutenant Durton, do you feel there were any challenges being a woman in the military? And what would you tell a young girl about why they should think about the military as a career or as an option?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some challenges that are presented at some points, but for me, it was early on in my career. So I was pregnant with my daughter, and then at that time we only had like 6 weeks off. So I felt like I was a zombie going to work every day, and I didn't have a lot of sleep, you know, trying to handle being a new mom and also getting ready for the next PT test, you know, getting my fitness while I was trying to recover. So it all felt like a lot. So I think the challenge there wasn't necessarily my time. It was a lot of the leaders in the Air Force were outnumbered. The women necessarily were outnumbered. There was a lot of males making the decisions based on what their experiences were. And so that's the challenge in itself, is just sometimes the women are outnumbered. And so the reason why you should consider joining the military as a woman, you get to find that voice, you get to find the opportunities and places where those changes can be made. We have in the Air Force, the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force now, which is the highest ranking enlisted member, is a woman, and she started enacting a whole lot of changes. And the Chief Master Sergeant prior to her also realized women need some changes with the pregnancy time off. Now they get 3 months off, and now you get a full year to recover. So just helping the numbers and helping become that voice that can make those policy changes is really important. I think that's truly where we can make a big change and a big difference. It's happening now, and I think now I haven't seen a lot of obstacles as much. There's more and more women joining into the leadership roles. For example, like my squadron, I think we have like 5 out of the 8 enlisted leaders are all women. And so you get to see that slow change happening, and it's super exciting to see. And just seeing all the teamwork that happens at that level is pretty exciting.
And the former head of the Maryland National Guard was a woman, General Linda Singh, who was on this program last year, who I met a few times and had interviewed, and is quite a role model.
Yeah, so it's been really amazing. I think, like 9 years ago when I first joined, that wasn't the case, but now you see it more and more often. And so then you strive to be that next woman that's in that position. And we can only get there with our numbers and our voices. So yeah, I think that's the best part. And kind of like Lieutenant Colonel Hetland was saying, there's so many opportunities after this. You asked me what my career goals were after I retire. It could be something in the children's industry, or now I have, with my clearance and my job experience and the field that I'm in, I have the opportunity to go join a 3-letter intel agency somewhere, like DIA, FBI, any of those cool like TV shows that I've seen. I'm like, oh, I can go do that now. Yes, I never thought I would have been here. So I think that's amazing. I started off doing HR stuff, and now I'm doing intel. So there's so many different reasons why you should join the military, but those are 2 short ones.
Okay, great. Staff Sergeant Jones, did you feel you encountered any challenges being a woman in the military, and why would you recommend a young girl consider the military?
I encountered challenges as in I'm a small person, so it is not always easy to perform the same activities as someone that's even the normal height for a female. But I haven't experienced sexism, thankfully. There probably are a lot of women that have, and I feel horrible that they've experienced that. I will say one of the best things about the military is that there is no such thing as a pay gap for the military. Other industries like doing cyber and analysis work, that might be experienced, but I currently work at a 3-letter agency, like leased out. So it's even over there, they don't have that pay gap across gender. So I think that's great. You're witnessing those type of things. I would highly recommend for any person, male, female, I don't care what your gender is. And don't think, oh, I'm a shy, quiet person. I would never meet what the military wants, because you don't know unless you try. Like, you don't know what you're capable of. You don't know unless you try. The answer is always no. You will not be able to if you don't put the effort. So, yeah, I definitely think it's certainly something I would recommend for any person.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. Sergeant First Class, you have the final word.
Joy. So as far as challenges, I could also agree that I haven't really encountered any challenges in the military as being a female. And for the females who think, like you said, like, oh, I'm not strong enough, I'm not loud enough, like you will find your voice. You will find your voice in a group. And if you can't, your friends will help you find that voice. You know, it's like we encourage each other, and even the males encourage the females and the females encourage the males. So you are a family, you are one team, and it doesn't matter if you're male or female. I came in as an MP, and my unit, I think there was less than a handful of females in my unit. When I got to the CST, the female had left, so I was the only female there, and then they kind of come in and go out. But no one's ever treated me differently. I've never been coddled either. So if I'm struggling, like, you can do this, and they will push you, and you will find that in yourself to be like, you know what, I can keep up. I can do this. I can do this. And yeah, so personally, I can't say I've encountered any challenges because I'm a female in the military.
And why would you recommend a young girl to enter the military?
I would recommend a young girl, female, woman, join the military because it's fun. You know, it's fun, it's rewarding. You learn so much, and you learn so much about yourself too. Like it fires you up, you know, like, oh, I did that O course. It was hard, but I did it. You know, you get through it. And I think that, like, you'll build relationships you never knew you could have. Definitely.
Great. Well, thank you very much, all of you, and the ones who weren't able to stay with us, for both your service to our country as well as your service to the festival tonight. We really appreciate it. You are wonderful role models for any young person, women or men, and hopefully this program will have inspired a few women and maybe a few boys to join the military. So again, thank you very much, and have a great evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.